You will not get it anywhere else. All right, also tonight, a hotly anticipated phone call in Washington, D.C. today as the House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer and FBI Director Christopher Wray, along with Senator Charles Grassley, spoke about the possible release of a document that claims that Joe Biden accepted a $5 million bribe from a foreign national when he was vice president and took specific actions in exchange for that. Now, Comer has subpoenaed that document. The FBI has not yet turned it over. The Bureau says that Wray offered Chairman Comer the opportunity to review the document in a secure setting. Comer says that offer is not good enough. He now plans to move forward with his effort to hold Director Wray in contempt of Congress. Now the FBI also claims that just because the Biden bribery allegation is on paper does not mean it is true. But apparently the Bureau has a track record of downplaying negative information, especially about anybody with the last name Biden. We also have FBI whistleblowers telling CBS News that the agency was actively labeling evidence against Hunter Biden as, you guessed it, disinformation, even if it was completely verified. Here with reaction to all of this is House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer. Tonight, a hotly anticipated phone call in Washington, D.C. today as the House Oversight Committee a hotly anticipated phone call in Washington, D.C. today as the House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer and FBI Director Christopher Wray, along with Senator Charles Grassley, spoke about the possible release of a document that claims that Joe Biden accepted a $5 million bribe from a foreign national when he was vice president and took specific actions in exchange for that. Now, Comer has subpoenaed that document. The FBI has not yet turned it over. The Bureau says that Wray offered Chairman Comer the opportunity to review the document in a secure setting. Comer says that offer is not good enough. He now plans to move forward with his effort to hold Director Wray in contempt of Congress. Now the FBI also claims that just because the Biden bribery allegation is on paper does not mean it is true. But apparently the Bureau has a track record of downplaying negative information, especially about anybody with the last name Biden. We also have FBI whistleblowers telling CBS News that the agency was actively labeling evidence against Hunter Biden as, you guessed it, disinformation, even if it was completely verified. Here with reaction to all of this is House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer. First, your reaction to the vote tonight on the spending bill, Congressman. What's your reaction?
Well, I think your two female guests did a great job explaining that this was a pretty good deal. Look, there are Democrats mad because we cut spending too much. There are some Republicans mad because we didn't cut spending enough. That's called governing. I don't like it. But when we're 1/3 of the equation, the House is 1/3, the Senate's a third, and the White House is a third, I think it's about as good a deal as we could have gotten. So I'm glad that we've moved past this, and now we can focus on trying to get spending under control again in October when the full year budget appropriation comes due again.
All right, let's talk about your call earlier today with the FBI Director Christopher Wray, along with Senator Chuck Grassley. And you have been asking and demanding that they turn over this 1023 form. Director Wray acknowledged that they have it. He would produce it for you in private. Let me ask you about this, because my understanding of a 1023 is pretty simple, is that it is an allegation. You and Senator Grassley believe it's a credible allegation based on the individual whistleblower that brought it to your attention. Okay, I tend to trust you too. However, the question I have is, are we going to start releasing all 1023s publicly? Would that result in an invasion of privacy or the potential of making accusations against people that they have not fully corroborated? And why not take advantage of the FBI director's offer to see it in like a private SCIF or whatever area he deems secure?
Well, to answer that question, Sean, he offered us the opportunity to come look at it in a private SCIF, but he was going to redact it. My experience with getting documents from the FBI when they're redacted, it's all black lines. They don't show anything. But I'm going to say on this show what we told Director Wray, what Senator Grassley told Director Wray. He and I have already seen the 1023 form. We knew what was in the 1023 form. Until we told Director Wray that, he never even admitted that the form existed. So the level of confidence that we have with Director Wray only went down. It only declined throughout the conversation. So we will go there and look at the redacted document, but we know what's in the document. And the reason we find this allegation credible, not only because of the credibility of the whistleblower, but because we've seen a pattern of Joe Biden, when he was vice president, leaving a country after he talks about foreign aid and foreign policy, and his family members start receiving payments from that company through shell companies that are then laundered down to Biden family members. So there is a pattern of behavior. And we saw that in Romania, we've seen that in China, we've seen that in other countries, that would suggest that this allegation has merit.
Well, by the way, with all the press reports I've been reading today about your phone call, not one of them actually mentioned that minor little detail that it would be redacted.
Yeah, he left that part out, which is a big deal.
That's a huge deal. Yeah, that's not transparency. Yeah. All right, so that means now that you will move forward with contempt charges against the FBI director. Tell us what that will look like, because, you know, let's say he comes in. I would doubt that he may just not show up, or if he just would the FBI director plead the fifth on an issue, and doesn't Congress, especially your committee above all others, have oversight? That is your job, to have oversight.
That's our job. That's what this committee does. That's what this committee was created to do. We have oversight over the federal government. But for some reason, the FBI thinks they're immune to oversight. Look, the Durham report proved that the FBI has lots of issues. We brought that up. Senator Grassley and I reminded Director Wray that the Durham report was devastating to the credibility of the FBI, and his response was that all happened before he became FBI director. So, look, all we want is this form, and it's not classified. They can redact the name of the informant. I'm fine with that. I would have redacted it if I had the document, without that redaction. Let's protect the human informant. I agree with that. We should always protect the human informant.
I want to be very clear. You believe in the credibility of this whistleblower. You believe that the allegation that Joe Biden, as vice president, received money for his family or family enterprise in exchange for specific acts that he took as the vice president of our country. You believe that that is a credible charge, an allegation made by a credible witness blower?
It's so hard to believe, Sean. I wouldn't have believed it had I not seen the bank records. Have I not seen the shell companies that the Biden family created to launder money that was being received from foreign nationals after Joe Biden left the country with foreign aid checks? So there's a pattern here that would suggest this is a credible allegation. Now, I went through this at Treasury just a few months ago. They said, you don't need access to these suspicious activity reports, these bank violations that the Biden have. You're never going to find anything there. That's what Janet Yellen kept saying. We finally got in there, and guess what we found, Sean? We found that Joe Biden lied when he said his family never took money from China. We found that Joe Biden actually did, and his family did receive payments while he was vice president. And we found five new Biden family members that were in on the influence peddling scheme. So that was a very productive trip to the Treasury Cabinet, even though they said we wouldn't find anything. I think we'll find the same sort of evidence with the FBI documents.
And Director Wray, to be clear, will now face contempt of Congress.
Unless he produces this document like we asked, this unclassified document, by Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever we have the markup.
All right, James Comer, Congressman, thank you. We appreciate it. Hey, Sean Hannity here.